Joshua 10. The day the sun stood still. At this time Adonizedek was the king of Jerusalem. He heard that Joshua had defeated Ai and completely destroyed it. The king learned that Joshua had done the same thing to Jericho and its king. He also learned that the Gibeonites had made a peace agreement with Israel and that they lived very near Jerusalem. So Adonizedek and his people were very frightened. Gibeon was not a small town like Ai. It was a very big city, as big as any royal city. And all the men in that city were good fighters, so the king was afraid. King Adonizedek of Jerusalem talked with King Hoham of Hebron. He also talked with King Param of Jarmuth, King Japhiah of Lachish, and King Debir of Eglon. The king of Jerusalem begged these men, "Come with me and help me attack Gibeon. Gibeon has made a peace agreement with Joshua and the Israelites." So these 5 Amorite kings joined their armies together. The 5 kings were the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, and the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. Their armies went to Gibeon, surrounded the city, and began fighting against it. The people in the city of Gibeon sent a message to Joshua at his camp at Gilgal. "We are your servants. Don't leave us alone. Come and help us. Hurry, save us. All the Amorite kings from the hill country have brought their armies together to fight against us." So Joshua marched out of Gilgal with his whole army. His best fighting men were with him. The Lord said to Joshua, "Don't be afraid of those armies. I will allow you to defeat them. None of them will be able to defeat you." Joshua and his army marched all night to Gibeon, so it was a complete surprise when he attacked them. The Lord caused those armies to be very confused when Israel attacked. So Israel defeated them and won a great victory. Israel chased the enemy from Gibeon along the road going up Beth Horon. The army of Israel killed men all the way to Azekah and Makkedah. Then they chased the enemy down the road from Beth Horon to Azekah. While they were chasing the enemy, the Lord caused large hailstones to fall from the sky. Many of the enemy were killed by these large hailstones. More men were killed by the hailstones than by the swords of the soldiers of Israel. On that day the Lord gave Israel the victory against the Amorites. Joshua stood before all the Israelites and said to the Lord, "Sun, stop over Gibeon. Moon, stand still over the valley of Aijalon." So the sun did not move, and the moon stopped until the people defeated their enemies. This story is written in the book of Jashar. The sun stopped in the middle of the sky. It did not move for a full day. That had never happened before, and it has never happened again. That was the day the Lord obeyed a man. The Lord really was fighting for Israel. After this, Joshua and his army went back to camp at Gilgal. But during the fight, the 5 kings ran away. They hid in a cave near Makkedah, but someone found them hiding in that cave. Joshua learned about this. He said, "Cover the entrance to the cave with large rocks. Put some men there to guard the cave. But don't stay there yourselves. Continue chasing the enemy and attack them from behind. Don't let the enemy get back to their cities. The Lord your God has given you victory over them." So Joshua and the Israelites killed the enemy. But some of them were able to go to the cities and had tall walls around them and hid. These men were not killed. After the fighting, Joshua's men came back to him at Makkedah. Not one in the people of that country was brave enough to say anything against the Israelites. Joshua said, "Move the rocks that are covering the entrance to the cave. Bring the 5 kings to me." So Joshua's men brought the 5 kings out of the cave, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they brought the 5 kings to Joshua, he called all his men to come to that place. He said to the officers of his army, "Come here. Put your feet on the necks of these kings." So the officers of Joshua's army came close and put their feet on the necks of the kings. Then Joshua said to his men, "Be strong and brave. Don't be afraid. I will show you what the Lord will do to all the enemies you will fight in the future." Then Joshua killed the 5 kings and hanged their bodies on 5 trees. He left them hanging in the trees until evening. At sunset, Joshua told his men to take the bodies down from the trees. So they threw the bodies into the cave where the kings had been hiding, and covered the entrance of the cave with large rocks. Their bodies are still there in that cave today. That day Joshua defeated Makkedah. He killed the king and the people in that city. No one was left alive. Joshua did the same thing to the king of Makkedah that he had done to the king of Jericho. Taking the southern cities. Then Joshua and all the Israelites traveled from Makkedah to Libnah and attacked that city. The Lord allowed the Israelites to defeat that city and its king. They killed everyone in the city. No one was left alive. And they did the same thing to that king as they had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all the Israelites left Libnah and went to Lachish. Joshua and his army camped around that city and attacked it. The Lord allowed them to defeat that city in Lachish. They defeated it on the 2nd day. The Israelites killed everyone in that city, just as they had done in Libnah. King Horam of Gezer came to help Lachish, but Joshua also defeated him and his army. No one was left alive. Then Joshua and all the Israelites traveled from Lachish to Eglon. They camped around Eglon and attacked it. That day they captured the city and killed everyone in the city. This was the same thing they had done to Lachish. Then Joshua and all the Israelites traveled from Eglon to Hebron and attacked it. They captured the city and all the small towns near Hebron. The Israelites killed everyone in the city, just as they did to Eglon. No one was left alive there. They destroyed the city and killed all the people in it as an offering to the Lord. Then Joshua and all the Israelites went back to Debir and attacked it. They captured the city, its king, and all the towns near Debir. They killed everyone in the city, just as they had done to Libnah and its king. No one was left alive there. They destroyed the city and killed all the people in it as an offering to the Lord. So Joshua defeated all the kings of the cities of the hill country, the Negev, the western foothills, and the eastern foothills. The Lord, the God of Israel, had told Joshua to kill all the people, so Joshua did not leave anyone alive in those places. Joshua captured all the cities from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza. He captured all the cities from Goshen to Gibeon. Joshua captured all these cities and their kings in one series of battles. He did this because the Lord, the God of Israel, was fighting for Israel. Then Joshua and all the Israelites returned to their camp at Gilgal.